guys, and welcome back to another episode of Fit and Focus for Remote Work and Digital Nomads podcast. My name is Shurina. I'm a brain coach with background in nutrition, integrative health coaching, and fitness coaching. And here I'm to share with you my passion for all the tools you can use to make your brain work better and help you have a better life experience, do better work, and just enjoy the whole experience, right? Your brain is a genius machine, the most sophisticated, officially, machine in the universe, and it is delivering and can deliver so much magic. But sometimes, because we don't really understand how it works or don't often apply what we heard or what we know, it starts to kind of malfunctioning and working almost seemingly against us, right? So here you're gonna learn the tools to make your brain work for you and with you, not against you. Today specifically, guys, we are talking about focus. I opened the doors to Brain Mastery Academy recently, where we have online training and retreats to share all these tools about how to make the brain do its best work using different hacks, or not so much hacks, but tools and procedures and protocols that we know of from different research and studies and observational data, right? So the first week of our Brain Master Academy is dedicated to focus. And why focus? Well, because without focus, guys, we will not achieve anything. We live for 100 years, a little bit less or more sometimes. And we have so many years, and most of our projects are long-term, be that health project, fitness project of us, of me, be that work project or relationship project. All of these things are long-term. And if we want to build beautiful things that we cherish, that enrich our lives and us, if you want to build those things long-term, we got to be able to focus long-term. But our brain is not that great naturally at focusing on long-term. Today's survival is quite enough. You survive today, you're probably going to have chances to survive tomorrow. But if you want to not just survive, but thrive and build the life experience that you envision, that long-term vision that takes 10, 20, sometimes like the whole life to build. If you want to get closer and closer to that every day, and usually you would have a few of those for different areas of your life, you need to be able to maintain a long-term focus. And our life is busier than ever. It is more distracting than ever. And it's more and more difficult than ever to maintain that long-term focus because, there are messages to read, there are, parties to go to, there is work to be done today, all kinds of emergencies and calls and meetings, and you gotta eat, you gotta take care of your kids sometimes, or of your parents, or of your spouses, right? There are so many things that are bombarding your head every day, asking you for decisions or to think about them, to arrange something, to plan something. And very often those projects that require more long-term thinking and sometimes doing not so pleasant thing right now, or suffering a little bit more right now, in order to build something beautiful over the course of several months and years, right? We forget about those things. We lose that focus. And again, it is natural. It is actually quite natural for your brain to forget the long-term focus and prioritize the now, especially if you're so emotional about that, right? And excited. It seems to be so important. The more emotional you are about something, the more important it is in your brain. And by the way, you can modulate your emotions so you don't have to get that emotional, but more often than not, especially for women, it takes practice that I am practicing. But back to the point of long-term focus. So it is quite natural to lose long-term focus because for your brain, and it is natural and it is good. Survival today is priority number one. The rest is secondary. But your brain also overreacts. And again, when you're emotional about something, it seems important. And your brain tries to dedicate the resources, the time, the intention to that, forgetting about the long term. So it's your job to put in place systems to keep your focus to keep your brain working on the long-term goals as well. And guys, how do we do that? There is actually quite a lot of research and studies. If you want to read more about those studies yourself, check out the recent book Clearer, Closer, Better: How Successful People See the World by Emily Balsetta. She's a neuroscientist who studies such things as motivation and focus with different kinds of research experiments. And also interviewing people who achieve long-term goals, like Olympic medalists, for example, right? It takes a lot of years to get to there. So what does the research have to say about long-term focus? Very crucial, essential practice that you cannot skip. Olympic champions do that. Everyone does that. You cannot skip this step. Otherwise, your brain will be distracted by other things in your immediate environment to make you think of today, not of long-term future. So what are these things that you gotta have? Reminders, physical reminders in your environment where you look at often, especially beneficial if those reminders are where you can take action on this specific goal. Okay, what do I mean by that in reminders in your environment? Well, for me, for example, in my living room, I have a desk and I have all these notebooks where I write down different thoughts about my current project that will take quite some time to build to its full vision. So there are all these notes that I take about my studies, that I take about my ideas, where I write down the plan for this week, for next month, for the next year, where I'm moving, the action that I need to be taken consistently. So this whole table is kind of a little bit messy. I don't work there, but it's a very good reminder for me to look at that there constantly. My mind is always drawn there, and I see those notebooks and I come up to them and I see all these ideas. I'm like, I haven't thought about that for a while. I haven't thought about that. I need to make sure that I follow through on this, and I need to put it on my calendar, and that I put it in my calendar in my phone, and I also write it down in my planner that is physical, right? So these are my physical reminders. And then I have a physical notebook where every day I write down my action plan. And of course, when I look at that action plan and I have all these notebooks around me, I remember that this is the goal that I'm moving towards. That is the long-term goal. Have I put the things that lead me there on my calendar today? Am I working on this long-term goal today? Doesn't matter what kind of emergencies are there. Yes, they need to be taken care of as well. Sometimes not, but very often you gotta take care of things today. But then also, did you dedicate anything to that long-term goal of yours? And if for some reason that long-term goal seems less important and less vibrant in your mind, and you're not that motivated, it loses its vibrancy, right? Its colors, it's kind of like distant and not real. What I do, I start picturing that goal in my mind and asking myself, why is it important? What I'm trying to build in 10, 20 years, where do you want to end up? Is it still important to me? Sometimes there would be times where the answer to these questions will change, most probably, but for the past 10 years, it haven't changed for me. And once this long-term goal is vibrant and colorful in my head again, I make sure that there are actions that I'm taking every day to move myself towards it, or at least, especially it's relevant, guys, to health and fitness goals, or at least I'm not taking myself back away from that goal, right? Sometimes when you don't write down things, you don't remind anyhow about your fitness and healthy eating, for example, goal. And there is a temptation to, let's say, go and eat the whole bunch of cookies, and you've been working on your fitness goal, on your weight loss goal, but you're like, just one day, I'm going to start tomorrow. But realize, having those reminders, those physical notes, help me to remember that, no, you're taking yourself away. you're taking yourself back from that goal. You worked hard for it. Look at those, days that you wrote down your workouts. And now with this action, you want to basically cancel that and get back to ground zero. Is it really that important? Those reminders, they are crucial. I'm even getting emotional about that because we sometimes think that it's only today. That's the only repercussion we have. We're just going to have not perfect today. But you got to honestly ask yourself also, is it only today? Or am I canceling my progress that I did for a few months, for a few weeks, for a few years sometimes? And because also the mental aspect of it might be detrimental. You might quit altogether. Is it that important to get this, bag of cookies? Or maybe I have some fruit and keep working on my goal. And tomorrow when I'll wake up, I'll be proud of myself and I'll keep going towards my goal stronger because I overcame that temptation, right? Without those physical notes, writing down your plan for meal plan, for example, your fitness plan, your sales plan. For me right now, sales is a huge challenge. Never worked on reaching out to potential clients. They kind of came to me, right? So it's a huge challenge because I've never done it before. It's not there are so many things you can be doing and people giving you so much advice and you don't have a good framework to choose the best advice, and you ask experts, but they also give you like a whole bunch of advice that sometimes will work, sometimes won't, right? So it's challenging. And every day write down, okay, these are the amount of people, who these people are, where these people are that I'm going to reach out. And then at the end of the day, I kind of analyze that and I look at the results. Did that work? What could have done better? What worked? Could we make it better? Could we repeat it? Right? And that is all in my notes. And the next day I wake up and I remember this stuff so vividly because I wrote it down and thought about it. It's physical. It's there, right? It's not in my mind. No matter how many distractions I'm going to have in that day, I'm not going to forget that I wrote it down, right? This action of writing things down, it's so powerful because you make your goal, your intention, your actions taken, your results, your progress, you make it physical. You literally manifest what's in your head into physical reality. And these notes, these physical reminders in your environment, they are the confirmations that in fact this happened, that you are moving towards that goal. And if the meaning of that goal loses its colors, then what you gotta do, you gotta connect to that goal. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why is it important? What I want to have in that many, months, weeks, and years. All people who succeed on their long-term vision, on their long-term goals, they have that physical reality reminding them of that goal. And if you don't have that one, for the goals you always forget about, for the goals that always slip your mind, if you don't have that, the chances are you are not making a lot of progress, and you're always starting and then quitting and starting and quitting. So figure out what kind of physical reminders you can put in your environment. Like if you want to exercise every day at home, I have my mat in the middle of the living room because my life is getting busier right now. And I have my weights, and there is no chance I'm not going to be moving because it's right there. I'm like, Angela, exercise is important. It's right there. Do a few push-ups or burpees or crunches. Healthy eating, I'm gonna eat. For me, it's kind of easy, and I shop for a week usually, and there's all these healthy foods, and beans I'm soaking, and berries I'm defrosting. So whenever I walk past my kitchen, I'm like, all this stuff I gotta eat, all this, healthy stuff to support my brain, right? All these reminders. And whenever there is a temptation to eat something not so healthy because, there is a lot of pressure or stress, I'm like, no, but you want to get up tomorrow because you have all these goals written down and you want to feel great and not weird in your stomach, and maybe your mental energy is all over the place because of this weird foods, right? So all these physical reminders, they always put me back in that frame of this goal. And again, just like Olympic champions, sometimes it takes years to reach at least some sort of very noticeable and pronounced realization of your long-term goal. Or it's not necessarily has to be some majestic goal. It can be just in 20 years feeling just as fit, as healthy as you are right now. And guys, as we age, things are not getting better unless you put attention and effort in it. So basically, after the age of like 25, you start declining. And if you want to maintain great health and great fitness, then you got to put work into that, right? I come from a background of integrative health, nutrition, and fitness, so I spend quite a lot of time in that area. And sometimes it's amazing how people spend so much time in their like 20s in their fitness and they were in great shape, and then they stop in their 30s for one reason or the other. And you meet them in 10 years and it's like, where is all the fitness, you know? But it's like shower, you don't take it every day, you know, you get dirty. So guys, that's the reason why you often lose focus for your long-term goals. In some areas, not in all the areas. Probably if you have a job, if you work for yourself and you dedicate time and attention and all kinds of energy and resources to that project, you probably don't forget about that ever, right? You get back to that on Monday or whatever that day is. But if you're working on your health and fitness and you're kind of new to that and you have no reminders whatsoever, you just, I don't know, signed up for the gym and you went there a couple of times or several times and then you stopped and that's it. And you maybe remember that in a month from now or in a few weeks, you know, like, why did I sign up? Why didn't I go? But it didn't go because it didn't have any sorts of reminders. Your membership probably was, I don't know, when I go to the gym, these days, there is no membership card, nothing. You just put the code in and the computer recognizes you and you go in. So there are no physical reminders in my environment about the gym, but there are all kinds of weights in my room, obviously. So long-term focus, if you want to maintain it, you know, you got to have some sorts of physical system to track it and to remind yourself of why it's important, what you're trying to build there. It can be many things, and always don't try to use your phone for everything. It's not that physical. I usually would put everything on the walls. Right now in this apartment, I'm renting it and the walls are kind of wide, so I don't put a lot of things on my walls, but I put it all on the table. It is kind of my horizontal wall. That's why it's there. So figure out how to put those physical reminders to track your progress, to remind yourself of a bigger vision somewhere, especially guys, if you're just a beginner, if you tend to forget about that goal or you're not consistent. So track the progress, maybe put like a check mark or cross on a calendar that you can put on your wall or maybe on your table. Have some sort of reminders of your progress, of the things that you do, things that work, don't work, and also of the bigger vision, you know, what I'm working on. That is also very important. Otherwise, you're just doing a bunch of stuff for no reason. So reminder of your goal, some physical way to track progress, and you'll be blown away by how much better you're going to get at getting those small steps, small repetitions in for the long-term vision of whatever that vision. It can be work project, it can be health and fitness project, it can be relationship project. And that's what the research tells us. That's how the brain works. The brain has a lot to think about, guys, a lot to analyze, a lot to work on, a lot of stuff that can distract your brain every single day to keep you alive or just manage your day-to-day life. So for your long-term goals that are non-urgent, usually, you want to have a reminder of your goal, the physical reminders, trackers of your progress. And that's it. So do it, have it. If you're serious about that goal, as serious as you think you are, as you believe you are, get those physical reminders right after you finish listening to this podcast, or put it in your calendar, in your reminders that this is the time when I'm going to work on reminders in my physical environment for that specific goal that I tend to forget. Put it right there. You know, any action whenever you learn any piece of information that you want to act upon, you gotta do something about it. Not always you can act on that goal directly on that action, but you can always put the time into your calendar when you're going to get back to this piece of information, figuring out how to put it into action plan. That's it for today, guys. So stay tuned for more episodes from our Brain Mastery Academy. The doors are open. The link is in the show notes. There are going to be corporate retreats. So the first is going to be in November. Online coaching is opening on October 10th, though we have limited spaces because I'm limited, obviously. So sign up or at least check it out, guys. The program is amazing based on the current research that is out there, and it's going to be out there. I am constantly updating the modules with the most recent information. You're going to be a master of your brain. So check it out. Stay tuned for more episodes tomorrow. We're going to talk about food and morning routine for focus, one or the other. And share this episode, guys. You do so much for me if you share this episode. Whenever you learn something that is super useful for you, please do share this podcast episode somehow, anyhow, and teach it to other people, this concept. We all want to do better and other people around us do better. And I'm going to shut up now. Have an awesome day. Stay focused on your long-term vision as well. Your homework is to put physical reminders in your environment about that goal that you tend to forget. And talk to you soon, guys. Have an awesome, focused day.